All right, welcome back to Shop Talk. I am one of your hosts extraordinaire, Calvin from Next Gen Escape.
And I'm Jax Ward from Crazy Squirrel Game Store. Not nearly as nice as Calvin is today.
Oh, I'm not nice. I'm just showboaty.
You're just super excited, and
I'm very excited. There's a new development in town.
Oh, what's going on?
A new development in the escape room landscape in Fresno.
Oh,
the first big change up in 7 years.
Yeah.
I think the only other biggest one would be Next Gen Escape a la moi, moving locations. Other than that, most other spots in town haven't moved, they haven't changed, they haven't really even changed their inventory of rooms. It's been very stale. There's one in town that does really good of continually swapping around so they have the same core customers. But
how many competitors do you have in town?
5 currently.
Okay.
There's 5 of us. So 4 competitors and then there's moi. So we take up 20% of the market currently.
Okay.
One of them is a chain.
Oh,
it's a regional chain. And they do pretty well. They probably do the best out of all of us. They're located near a mall in Clovis.
Okay.
Very good for them. Very happy. But we are super happy where we are at, doing our own thing.
Yeah.
But as industry grows, more people get interested, and we have our first biggest, I would say, competitor entering the market, in a first big player, I should say, in a long time. Escapeology.
Is that a chain?
That is the chain. That is, I think, one of the biggest chains.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they've researched the market and they've decided here's where they can make some money. Right?
I did not say that.
Oh.
I did not say that.
Okay.
They have done some very questionable things.
It's always weird, right? When a new chain comes into your location and you're like, I'm sure you did some market research, but did you do enough?
But did you do the right? Are you from here? Do you really know what you're signing up for? So it's a franchise, so it is a local-ish person, I would think, who bought into it. And there's a chance that I know who it is. Unfortunately, in the 7 years of doing this, I've had several people come up to me and say, I'm gonna open up my own escape room.
Yes, that's very common.
Even literally saying, I'm gonna open up an escapeology. I've heard that several times.
Oh, okay.
So I don't exactly know who it is, but I'm assuming it is an escape room enthusiast, someone who does love what they do. They are putting it in what seems to be Fashion Fair Mall.
Oh, that's interesting. So Fashion Fair is our local big mall.
Right. The other escape room is outside of the other smaller mall, but their bigger mall is Fashion Fair. Our customers, I don't think Next Gen Escape's customers don't typically frequent Fashion Fair, I would think, for the family clientele that we're aiming towards, but they are going all in on families and kids. They have a Batman theme and a Scooby-Doo theme that I am very worried about.
Yeah, they would have had to have licensed that as well, which means they're sinking some money into it.
They are fully licensed games. You can play them at other locations, and that is my crux right there. You can play them at other locations. And that's one of the main reasons why I would never go to a chain or do that, is you won't have something that's completely unique or yours. But they do have Batman, and they do have Scooby-Doo, and those are IPs that I would never dream of going near unless I had full permission.
A bag full of money, right?
Bag full of money to do that. And I haven't heard anything about their games. All I've heard is that they have those IPs.
Have you ever played one of their games in another city?
So I have.
Okay.
With a caveat that I did not think that it was the best experience in the world. It wasn't my favorite escape room. Kia and I thought about it recently, is that we enjoy a lot of the games that we go out to. There's a lot of things that they have that they offer. The one that we did in Reno for our first Gamma Expo was so phenomenal. It was a pirate ship inside of a warehouse.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They harvested lumber from Lake Tahoe.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It was legit. You could walk the deck.
Yeah.
You could hoist the sail, kind of. You could unhoist the sail, not really hoist it up, but it was insanely cool. That was super cool. In Bria, we did Red Lantern Escape, and that was the largest escape room I've done. That was in a warehouse. And that was a game meant for 12 people. We did it in COVID, so we did it with 4 people with what should be 12, and that was amazing.
That
Phenomenal
would be pretty
time.
cool. Yeah.
They had an Edgar Allan Poe Telltale Heart poem puzzle
Dude, that
that
sounds
I
amazing.
killed it on. Nobody else knew what the heck was going on.
Oh,
but
no.
the heart, she holler. So I definitely knew to answer that.
So what do you do when you know there's not just a competitor coming into town, but a competitor that's big enough to get licensed franchises?
That's the question. That's the question. I'm so curious. Their pricing looks to be similar to ours, which where they're located at, I don't know if that's gonna be good for them or not.
So I don't know if this is how Fashion Fair does it, but there are usually, if you open in a mall type location, you have a lease that's base rent plus a percentage of your sales that month, right?
You're the only other person that knows about that.
Yeah,
Every time I brought that up, because we tried to move in over by Campus Point.
Yep.
Very similar setup. Very cushy, I would say. Very expensive.
Very expensive, yeah.
But not only was it very expensive, but if we did well, we would pay even more. And that was mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mind-blowing. And that's how malls just typically go.
That's how they often do that. We just had a discussion in one of my professional groups about how many of us have to report our gross sales to our landlords because it's in our lease. We don't. We're in a small shopping center where I negotiated that away because nobody else needs to know what my gross is, if at all possible.
If at all possible. No, because they're only going to see dollars and see how much can I get. And that's the only conversation is, exactly.
Yeah, if it was one of those ones where I was like, well, I'll also show you all my expenses, so now you know what money I actually have left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we had Games Workshop. So Games Workshop is the publisher of 40K and Age of Sigmar.
Back in 2014 they opened up?
Yeah, they opened up. And so we knew like, oh, this is a big company. And I was very worried because we had been doing a lot of Games Workshop stuff. In fact, a couple of places in town had. So it was very clear that they had seen like, oh, we're selling a lot of
here.
stuff in
We can probably move in and capitalize it. Full disclosure, I went to that store and I think that genuinely what I'm worried about with my escape room is probably what you're gonna talk about right now. In that I stopped going to the smaller place and I just went to the big place until the big place was kaput because they didn't know where to go. They were in a kind of a terrible location for what they offered.
Right, this is the thing. So when we found out that they were gonna open, we were super worried because like, oh, we've just invested $10,000 in stock from them and now they're gonna undercut us. But they opened up in an area of town where the average income was high. Right? So in Clovis, the average income is much higher than it is in Fresno. But what they didn't know is where they opened up, that's not where people spend money. People actually tend to spend more money in Fresno, but the higher incomes are over there.
That's where they live. They live in Clovis.
They live there.
They commute to Fresno to shop.
They shop here. So I was really concerned. And then we realized, oh, they clearly didn't send somebody on the ground to look at stuff. And then Games Workshop is silly. Sometimes they open up places and it's a one-person store. So if that person is sick, it was just closed. That person needs to eat lunch, they just had to close the store.
I was running a game there, one of my first games at the Games Workshop. We finally made it, I was so excited. And the guy needed to take a 15-minute break to go eat at Pita Pit next door.
Yep, and so he had to so that Games Workshop only lasted like 8-9 months. I mean, it was a very short. And a lot of my retailer friends had told me, don't be worried, if nothing else, because at least in retail, Games Workshop does, their big push is to get the new players in, whereas our push was to get those players after they knew what they were doing to play and things like that. But I don't know how that works with an experiential thing like escape rooms.
So the biggest thing is right now in the market, it's getting in first-time players.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that as all industries mature, they kind of understand that that's, you got to get them in. There has to be a gateway to get them through.
Yeah.
And with an IP such as Batman and Scooby-Doo, there's a ton of people who would never be interested in escape rooms that would suddenly be like, hey, I like Batman and I'll throw a few bucks at this. What I am concerned about is that those people won't move on if they have a bad experience. Not saying that they will. The experience that I had at Escapology was totally fine.
Yeah.
It was totally, honestly, unremarkable. And that is not great when you're charging remarkable pricing.
So are you thinking of new marketing plans, or have you
So far, I'm just kind of holding on. I asked the Facebook group, hey, this is my situation. A big competitor moved in. Who has else experienced this? Just seeing what have they gone through, and everybody has their own 2 cents of what I should do.
Yeah.
I just want to hear who's gone through this, who's done this.
Right.
Because with escape rooms, it's so specific. You sold the literal product of the big guy who moved into town. And so that's a whole different beast. But for us, just the ad revenue that they're going to be throwing at, assumably, if they're a good franchise, I would think that they're gonna be giving a huge chunk of change for marketing. Could mean that a ton of first-time players that would go see us first are gonna go there. But our customers, I definitely feel like go to North Fresno and they don't go to Fashion Fair. And it's located physically inside of the mall. So for our clientele who goes by and drop their kids off and then go head out, that's really a whole thing to orchestrate.
I'd be more concerned if they were in River Park, because River Park's so much closer to us.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that they're going to get a huge amount of people to go there, but I am happy that we are still on the most northern.
Right.
Geographically speaking, we're the most diverse from everyone else. And consistently what we're seeing is that people like us for our reviews and they see that we're close.
Yeah.
And they don't even look at, oh, hey, there's one that might have more reviews over on Shaw, but this one is way closer. They don't even think about that.
Geography is such a huge factor in getting customers. Like, we have so many competitors in town. The thing that I'm always concerned about most is how close are they to where our customer base is? Because people are essentially lazy, right? You want to go to the place that's close, especially when it's 110 outside. So, well, we should talk about some marketing ideas one of these times coming up, because when you get new competitors in, you do have to change your game plan a little bit.
You change things. I definitely know an idea of what I'm gonna do. I feel like it's Godzilla and Mecha Godzilla are now in town and fighting, and I just want to be standing on the sideline. I don't want to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, there's no reason to annoy a big player when you're like, hey, we're here, we're good. We have enough faith in our business model and our imaginations that we think we can compete. But that's like, marketing's a whole different thing, and maybe we take that up in another episode or two, because we're out of time right now, right?
We talk too much shop. Sorry, guys.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have questions or comments, please just let us know, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bye.